fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale trusts as well as some dividend declarations. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so the first couple of things I want to cover here before we get into that is the markets are pulling back again, and they're pulling back a little bit more aggressively than I would have thought they would. I just actually got back, and when I left, it was oversold like right around here, and thought it was going to recover, and it has actually not recovered. It has still been selling off. So pretty nasty drop right off resistance zone here. Am I surprised? Not really. I mean, we were overbought, but the question is, are we going to bounce off this 20,000 or not? That remains to be seen. I will say this, there's probably still some markets are still a little bit apprehensive about the whole tariff situation, whether that's going to come into existence or not, whether Trump's going to be flexible or not. People are probably wondering about that and a little skeptical, to say the least. And something I did want to point out to you guys is I think there's a grander plan at play here. And I think what it is that the markets would have had to have sold off enough, and Doge and all that stuff with the government layoffs. I think the reason why all this is being done, truthfully, the underlying reason, it's not just about keeping their promises on, and again, this is pure speculation on behalf of the people and all that jazz, right? If you guys follow politics, you know what I'm talking about. I think more so the deeper meaning here is that they're trying to convince the Fed to cut rates, and they also want to, the U.S. has some debt coming up that they have to refinance, and they'd rather do it at cheaper prices, right? So in order to do that, some things have to give way in order to convince the Fed to cut and to be able to refinance debt out further in time for cheaper, so that way we can have a greater economic expansion for a longer period of time going into the future. So you can think of this as like growing pains, like short-term pain for long-term gain, something like that. So that's kind of what I see happening. Again, how exactly all this is going to play out remains to be seen. So we'll just have to wait on that, and I'll keep you guys updated as more information comes out. So anyways, TSLL, nice little drop here. Well, I shouldn't say it's a little drop. It's definitely not small. It's double digits today. So Tesla also pulling back, but keep in mind, we are pulling back into the EMAs. If this is truly a continuation to the upside, should be getting a bounce here pretty soon. So again, I want to point out that we have been oversold for a very long time at this point. I mean, basically from December straight to March. So all of Q1, Tesla has essentially pulled back. I mean, it's not great, but if you're buying down at these levels, it could be a very golden long-term dip buying opportunity. Again, that's not financial advice, but I mean, I've showed you guys all the reasons why, and even the what is this thing called? The histogram on the MACD. Even this is starting to flip a little bit, right? You see this light red color? That's an indication that the bear momentum is slowing down, and we could start to be seeing some green, which obviously is more evident on the lower time frames. So anyways, so I'm going to go over the buys real quick, cover that real quick with you guys. So we did buy some shares of XDTE. We didn't cover this yesterday, so I'm going to cover it today. Again, I told you guys if we were above the EMAs on the 4-hour time frame on the NASDAQ, we were going to buy XDTE. And I'm aware, I know, XDTE is the S&P 500, but guys, it's the same. I mean, these markets pretty much operate almost exactly the same. I'm going to show you here in a minute. So anyways, so we bought 4.25 shares yesterday, 4.27 today. And likewise, on the opposite direction, if the price action is below the EMAs, we're going to go back to buying GPIC. That's what I told you guys, so that's what we intend to do. All right, and as for right now, we're just kind of, I mean, we could put on more cash secured puts, but for now, we're just kind of nibbling at the price. We're not really looking to ape in, and we're also not really looking to put on more cash secured puts just yet. We may, but not really entirely sure yet. Oh, and wow, I didn't even know this thing had a dividend. So apparently we're going to get some dividends too. Sweet. Good deal. I'm going to have to look into that one. But anyways, yeah, so that's really interesting. I knew Soxel had dividends, but I didn't know this one had dividends. The things you learn. So yeah, I mean, it did pull back quite a bit. We were only down like $900 total return yesterday. Now we're down 2,500. So this thing is very volatile. I mean, if you guys are looking into these leveraged ETFs, just understand that they are extremely volatile. You may have some serious fluctuations in your account if you get into these. So anyways, We bought 5 shares at $11 yesterday, and then again at $10.89 today. Kind of wish we had waited a little bit longer, but I mean, it's whatever. In my opinion, anything around $10 is a steal, because if this thing goes up to $50, $60, $70 at some point, it's not even going to matter. And we're willing to wait as long as it takes to get there. So not expecting this to be a quick trade. Let's just put it like that. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. And again, I wanted to show you guys real quick the NASDAQ, and then we'll get into the declarations. So I'm going to try to reiterate my point here when I show you guys this. So, and again, like I said, I'm aware that GPIC is a NASDAQ related one, and GPIX, or not GPIX, XDTE is S&P, but again, the indices essentially do look the same, okay? So prices below EMAs, if it closes this way, which it looks like it might, then we'll go back to buying GPIC tomorrow. But if it's above the EMAs, then we'll just stick to buying XDTE, which at this case is not true that the price is above the EMAs, unless for whatever reason the markets just happen to have some crazy rally at the end of the day, which could happen. But yeah, you can see the price action and the kind of patterns here are essentially the same, right? RSI falling off a cliff, nice big fat red dump right below the EMAs. This upward channel or bear flag, it's essentially the same thing. It's just the NASDAQ is a little bit more volatile than the S&P. So anyways, enough about that. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, pull up these charts on the Grayscale Trust, because I'm sure you guys want to know about this, right? So let's get through the declarations real quick, then we'll go into that. So the Yieldmax ETFs, GPTY, looks like about 28 cents, LFGY, 47 cents, QDTY, 27 cents, RDTY, 30 cents, SDTY, 21 cents, and these are all different indices. So you got 0DTE, S&P, Russell, NASDAQ. This one is some kind of crypto and tech combination, and this one is AI and tech, so it looks somewhat, I can't say definitively, this is just my opinion, of course, but it looks kind of like maybe a competitor to the Roundhill and the Rex Shares ETFs. So, but anyways, so ULTY, 9 cents here, roughly about 10 cents. YMAG, 8 cents. YMAX, 13 cents. You guys might be complaining because the dividends are low. If you ask me, I think that's actually a good thing, because it's always good for the price to retain its value, right? So, have a few weeks of this. I'm not going to have any issues with this. You guys are free to let me know your opinions down below, but that's just how I feel about it. So, Babo, 76 cents. Dips, 58.5. 55 cents on FBY. 64 cents on GDXY. 37 cents on JPMO. Maro, 147, which I'm not surprised. I mean, the Bitcoin miners are very volatile. MRNY, 18 cents. NVDY, 78 cents, and PLTY, 532. So we have NVDY, MRNY, and the YMAG, YMAX. Those are the ones we have. Okay, so QDTE, going into Roundhill now. So you got 23.5 cents here on the NASDAQ version. Whoops, those are the single stock ones. Okay, so next one here, S&P. So S&P, 21 cents. That's the one we're currently buying, which is XDTE. And then the last one here is RDTE. So RDTE, just over 90, or sorry, not 90 cents, 19 cents. All right, so FEPI and AIPI, and we'll go over CEPI too, because those are all coming this week. So 94 cents on FEPI. Again, the price and the what am I trying to say here? The price and the dividends for FEPI and AIPI and all these other ones have come down, unfortunately, since right around the time that Trump got elected. But you guys got to understand, the markets have mainly just been going sideways, right? Sideways, and then kind of down a little bit. So when that happens, that unfortunately weighs on the value of the price and the dividends from these particular ETFs, because they pay so much, right? Like I told you guys before, the best scenarios, the best market conditions for these kinds of ETFs are when the market's just going up. All right. So cover the next one here, AIPI. So, and if the markets eventually recover, I suspect a lot of these will recover a lot of their price, if not all of it. So, especially if they're going up for a long enough period of time. So $1.28 on AIPI. And next one here is the crypto version. So a massive, really massive $1.45. Again, but the dividends are still going down. But I mean, this thing is paying just insane dividends. So not really surprised there. And the holdings are interesting on this. You have AMD, MicroStrategy, new holdings, Tesla, NVIDIA, CleanSpark, Robinhood, Micron, TSM. I'm not sure what else is in here. Again, this is just my opinion, but the only real true crypto holdings in here, in my opinion, would probably have to be MicroStrategy, CleanSpark, and maybe Tesla, because as far as I know, Tesla has some Bitcoin exposure, but I'm not sure about that. But it doesn't matter. I mean, diversification is always good for something like this. Okay, so LTCN, still getting a nice little bounce. We got a tweezer bottom here on the support. Whether it's going to go up or down in the coming weeks, that remains to be seen. So buy zone still going to be 690 to 8. The immediate short-term target still going to be up here at 54. So a pretty nice return, about 690%. Next one here, BCHG. So 240 to about 280, with the immediate short-term target being up at $24. So you're talking at least a 10x return, 900%. HN. So there might be a potential for a double bottom here. You see these candle wicks down here. That could be what's happening right here. I can't say that with certainty, but that's what it looks like. So maybe somewhere around 220, even as low as $2 for a potential buy area. 1050 still being the immediate target. So nice little 5x move. 420%. And again, I've been saying this for eons, guys. These markets can flip and go stupid parabolic any day. Okay, it can literally happen at any point in time. Whether it will happen or not, that's a different story. Okay, that depends on market conditions and a lot of other stuff. So ETCG, I'd be kind of looking somewhere around this 720 to right around these candle wick lows. So 720 to 775, somewhere in there. For buy area, 20 as the target. So potentially as much as a 3x move. Next one, ETHE. So we're getting some bounce off support here. I'd be kind of looking right around this area at 1570, unless for whatever reason it breaks to the downside. Target still all the way up here at 72. I mean, I think that's pretty realistic for something like ETH, especially since Ethereum itself is below $2,000 right now. So for Ethereum to go from 2 to 8,000 is not even a 2x the previous all-time high. This could easily happen. So 360% gain here. GBAT, so this white line did not hold, so maybe anywhere in between these white lines, 175 to roughly about 240 for a potential buy area. You can see it kind of bobbed around in there before. Target up here at 32, which is the current all-time high, for about 1,800%. FILG, so yikes. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but this thing really got dumped on. So it had a push down and then it bounced and it had a massive push down after that. That's interesting. With some serious volume here too. I mean, damn, 42,000 shares. So this thing is officially back in the bear box. This was where it was at during the bear market lows, which is interesting. So pick your poison on this one, anywhere from $4 to $13.30. 400 being the all-time high. I mean, you know, $4 to 400. If you guys had, any of you had the cojones to buy back then, you know, you would have made 100x on your money if you got out on time. So 3,200% gain here. GLIB, so this is a flip zone. I'd kind of be looking for this to hold right now. So 590 to 680, unless we get some really scary market news. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I just, you know, it's a possibility. So 80 as the target up here, 1,080%. G-Link, so nice little rejection off resistance. Not really surprised by that one. I mean, that's probably a trader's move right there. Probably traders just trying to, you know, maybe take profit or short the market or something. I'm not sure. So I'd be looking at, as of right now, 2150 as a potential area to buy. And then the target up here at 220, 225. Excuse me, for about just shy of 900%. Okay, GSOL, so still holding this white line, so right around that 10, 20 area is what I'd be looking at. And then 80 to 115 for potential targets up here. About 1,090%. GXLM, so we are still holding this white box here, so 29.20 to about 31, or we'll just say 29 to 31 for potential buying opportunities, and 70, 69, 70 somewhere in there as the first immediate target. So 136, as you guys know, my next target above that is at 96. And yikes, Mana has really sold. It actually looks quite attractive right now. If we were going to buy it, this is definitely the level we'd be looking to buy at for sure. So yeah, it's interesting. It could come all the way down to the bottom of this green candle here and then bounce. That could happen because that was a pretty big candle with a lot of volume. You always want to look for these volume bars when you're looking at candles too, because that kind of gives you a strong indication of where major trading action is. So maybe right around 350. And then the target's still all the way up at 70 for about 2,015% gain. Let's see, Zcash. So currently I'm kind of like a micro downtrend. Nice little reversal here at the bottom. That's interesting. So if this thing closes above the white line, maybe around 920, as of right now, I would say probably somewhere between 2 to about 315 just to be on the safe side. And then the target all the way up at 10, 1020, somewhere in there for about a maximum 405% gain. Okay, so one last thing before we close out. So in terms of Bitcoin, Bitcoin still looks okay, and we do still appear to be in a bull trend. I'm not really so concerned about this. I didn't mean to click on that. So what I wanted to look at was a monthly time frame. Okay, so we are still above this trend line, and I want to point out why this matters. Okay, it matters because the last bull market run that we had, when we got below that trend line, starting from basically the not quite the pandemic lows, but once we started getting the real serious parabolic move here to the upside, once it really started picking up, that's when this trend line kicks in, right? And then when we broke it right around the end of the post-halving year, that led into a bear market. So, and again, you can see something very similar in 2017, albeit we had to kind of draw the pattern out a little bit differently, but the point is it never broke any of these trend lines, and when it did, that was kind of it right there, right? So you draw a trend line here for the longer term. This was kind of the shorter term, midterm correction, and then when it broke the longer term trend line, that was it, right? Straight into a bear market. So the thing I want to point out here is we have not broken the trend, okay? We have not even touched it since basically back here in October 2023. So from that perspective, the crypto bull run still is intact. And the other thing I want to point out as well is that we have not hit the infamous 90 to 95 on the RSI that we usually get on the monthly time frame when we do top out. So there's still some potential room to run here. The question is, when is it going to happen? So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.